There was a time when cities like Detroit, St. Louis, and Baltimore weren't just places on a map, they were dreams carved into steel and concrete. Cities where the hum of machines echoed like a heartbeat. Where fathers built cars, mothers raised families, and children played on green lawns in neighborhoods full of life. The American dream wasn't a slogan here. It was real. It was alive. It was everywhere you looked. Let's start with Detroit. In the 1950s, Detroit was the industrial capital of the world. Known as the Motor City, it was home to giants like Ford, GM, and Chrysler. This city didn't just build cars, it built the middle class. One factory job here could buy you a house, support a family, and fund your kids' education. People came from all over the country to be part of it. It was fast-moving, full of opportunity, and built on pride. But when the auto industry began to crumble, outsourcing, automation, and economic shifts hit like a slow-moving earthquake, the collapse wasn't just economic. It was spiritual. Factories closed. Job security vanished. The very identity of the city was shaken to its core. Neighborhoods emptied. Schools shut down. Crime surged. Hope faded. The city lost more than 60% of its population. Over 70,000 buildings were abandoned. Whole blocks became forests of concrete and silence. The hum of the assembly line was replaced by the howl of the wind. Today, some streets in Detroit feel like time froze in 1982. Nature has started reclaiming what humans abandoned. Trees grow through roofs. Wildlife roams through schoolyards. The soundtrack of industry has been replaced with eerie quiet. And yet, people still live here. Still fight. Still hope. Community leaders, teachers, artists, they're trying to breathe life back into these forgotten blocks. It's not easy. But it's happening. Now, let's move to Baltimore. This was once one of America's busiest ports, a city steeped in maritime history, culture, and resilience. But underneath that legacy is a deep scar of inequality and neglect. The divide between rich and poor became a chasm. Decades of redlining, segregation, and underfunded schools fractured Baltimore. The wealth stayed in the inner harbor. The poverty stayed in West Baltimore. Generations grew up in the shadow of neglect, with fewer opportunities and more obstacles. And the headlines? They speak of murder rates, drug epidemics, crumbling infrastructure. But they don't tell the full story. They don't show the teachers buying their own supplies, the parents working 2 jobs, the students walking miles for an education. There are children in Baltimore who walk to school past drug deals, through alleyways littered with needles. There are teachers who work with broken windows and broken budgets. And there are parents who fight every day to make sure their kids survive, let alone succeed. Now to St. Louis. This city is symbolized by the Gateway Arch, a monument to exploration and expansion. But behind the monument is a city fractured by crime, poverty, and deep social divides. The past still lingers here. Old wounds remain open. Some neighborhoods here have homicide rates comparable to war zones. Abandoned buildings outnumber businesses. And many people live with the constant weight of fear. Kids grow up too fast. Hope is fragile. But as in Detroit and Baltimore, the numbers don't tell the full story. Behind the statistics are people. Resilient people. Because for every block that crumbles, there is someone painting a mural. For every abandoned lot, someone plants a garden. For every child who drops out, another one beats the odds. This isn't a story of death. It's a story of resistance. So how does a city die? Not with a bang, but with silence. With years of policies that look the other way. With factories shutting down, funding drying up, and a nation forgetting. With media that focuses only on violence and never on voices. But how does a city survive? With people. With those who stay. With those who rebuild what was left to rot. With communities that refuse to give up. You see, these cities aren't lost. They're abandoned. Not by their people, but by their country. By leadership. By industry. By the systems that promised more. And that's what this video is really about. Not just buildings, or crime stats, or old photos. But about memory. About responsibility. About whether we believe that every city, every person, deserves a second chance. Because if we can forget cities like Detroit, Baltimore, and St. Louis, places that built America, then what else are we willing to leave behind? Maybe the American dream didn't die. Maybe it just moved out. Maybe it was evicted. Maybe it's waiting for us to remember where we left it. And maybe it's time we brought it back. Not with slogans. But with action. With empathy. With investment. With belief. Because a country is only as strong as the places it refuses to forget.